'Tis the season for over-unders. Tis that time of the year. We got incredible response last year when we did our over-under segment. It was a segment so nice, we're going to do it twice. We're going to start on this episode of Three Guys Before the Game, Part 1, over-under for the 2023 Mountaineer football campaign. We're all assembled. One strong team that never breaks apart. One strong team that's unified.
You know what?
Three guys that are ready to hold the rope and never let it go because it's one for all and all for one. You agree with that, Senator?
Yeah, until about 24 hours from now.
What demonstrates strength is when one of the pieces is missing, that it carries on.
We'll persevere. We shall overcome Hoppy's disappearance. Can I tell you something? Three Guys Before the Game has been loyally brought to you through the years by Comax Business Systems. And you hear they got an award this week. They got an award.
About that. Yeah.
Comax was named a top 25 dealer in the world by Konica Minolta Business Solutions. I said world, it says Business Solutions USA. Same thing. For 2023. Unbelievable honor. And they wanted to reach out and thank everyone, all their customers through the years. 40-plus people that work together for them. Employees. They work together. They're a true team. Service, support, and everything that they do. 25-plus years in business, and they're a top 25 dealer named by Konica Minolta Business Solutions. So congratulations to the fine folks there, Bob and his crew at Comax Business Systems. They will take care of you. Visit them at comaxwv.com. Three Guys brought to us by the folks who bring you the James Bond pontoon boat. Lou Wendell Marine Sales, the single largest pontoon boat dealer in the state of West Virginia, family-owned for 4 decades, recognized not only as the state's experts in pontoon boating, but unconfirmed, we believe they do supply the pontoons for the James Bond movies. Check them out at LouWendellMarineSales.com. That's Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Three Guys also brought to us by Go-Mart. Go for good times. Go for Go-Mart. Mountaineer football season obviously quickly approaching. We got the lid lifter at home against the Duquesne Dukes, and that'll be the first time that you can walk the Mountaineer Man Trip. You can register and try to win one of those coveted 2 spots to walk into the stadium with the team by visiting the Go-Mart website at gomart.com. That's G-O-M-A-R-T, gomart.com. You'll walk into the stadium about 2 hours, 20 minutes before. Pretty neat thing. And then you get to go down on the field. So sign up for that. Gomart.com. Tell them Hoppy sent you.
Who would you want to walk next to?
Good question. Tell you what.
I'm thinking one of those big offensive linemen, like
Garrett,
Zach Frazier.
Garrett Greene will be dressed well. We know that.
Yeah, he will be. So I wouldn't want to be next to him because I'd be embarrassed because he's dressed so much better.
Garrett's not wearing burlap.
Well, all those guys will be dressed nice.
Well, they all will.
I mean, they're all going to see Fine Luck and Phil over there at Daniels to get all of them, their suits before they walk down. Yeah.
Phil outfits them.
They'll all look good. Can't go wrong over there. Yeah. All the fellas looking sharp.
As they say, Hoppy, I think this happened, I think when Dana was here.
Yeah.
That they do it in sections, right? Like you don't get a new suit every year, but as your time here, you get a suit. As they say back in your day, Hoppy, he got a new suit of clothes. he got a new suit.
Everybody should have a suit of clothes.
Every good man should have a suit of clothes and be able to sit down on a Davenport.
Get your Marion and Berrien suit.
Yeah, exactly. Three Guys also brought to us by unbelievable folks at Burdett Camping Center. They happen to be the only warranty forever dealer in the state of West Virginia. And right now, fifth wheels, the 2022, all their 2022 fifth wheels, $3,000 under the invoice. That's $3,000 under the invoice. And they still have that awesome deal on the $10,000 off on the Forest River travel trailer. Visit burdettcamping.com. That's burdettcamping.com.
I talked to Phil this week. Also coming soon, the famous Burdett promotions.
Excuse me?
Burdett 3 Guys Promotions. You know how we do that?
Oh, yeah.
He'll throw something out there, some crazy
Good stuff.
promotion, and you hit it, you get X number of dollars off.
So those are coming back?
Coming soon, yeah. They'll be back for this season.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. We've got Textual Healing coming up. And we also have, for I think one of the very rare times, we've got a video.
What?
We have a video we're going to play.
Of what?
We'll get to that. We'll get to that a little bit later on. Mountaineer footballers
I don't know
are
anything about that.
Yeah, Mountaineer footballers have begun classes. Yesterday was the first day. We tape on Thursday today. So they're in class. That means that we're quickly moving toward preparation for the actual game opener against the Nittany Lions of Penn State. They'll scrimmage under the lights again Saturday night as we get closer. So we thought we would debut for the first time this season part 1 of Over Under. This was all the Senators doing. Was this the genesis of spreads on stats? Because is this kind of the start of it?
That's a good point. It might
I
have
think
been.
it was.
Yeah, it might have been. Yeah, just pick different categories. I like to do this just because it's, again, these aren't true wagers you could make in the marketplace. This is for discussion purposes and entertainment purposes only.
Right.
But I do what I try and do on these, and I've done that today, is kind of take some big picture themes that are around this team or questions that have come up around this team, and then we get into it and we assign a number to it. So instead of, and this isn't in today's episode, but it may come later, we've talked a lot about Cole Taylor, the tight end, right? 6'7", Hoppy. That's a big target in the end zone.
Target.
At some point, we'll do, okay, hey, Cole Taylor's going to be valuable in the receiving game. Okay, that's fine to say. We've said, what's the number?
Yeah.
How many receptions is that? Rodney Gallagher, a true freshman, very talented, highly touted kid, but true freshman. We know they catching 50 balls. What did Gil Shorts have that year? 47? Was that the high for a true freshman? Was Shorts at 47? Sounds right.
That sounds right.
Trying to put some numbers and some analysis to these things that we talk about each week as we lead into the season. That's the genesis of the segment.
With that being said, very rarely get to use this sound effect. It's a 3-second stinger. Let's begin. Over, under, number 1 proposition from the Senator.
Here we go. So what is a big topic this season? How many games will West Virginia win? Where are they going to finish in the standings?
Yeah.
Preseason media poll has the Mountaineers picked 14th.
Boo.
Last in the Big 12. So here's our first over-under. Over-under, 13.5, where West Virginia will finish the regular season in the Big 12. Over-under, 13.5.
Under.
They finished better.
They finished better, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think, Brad, candidly, I think that's an easy one. And because you gave a great stat when that preseason poll came out, and that is the difference between 14 and 7. 14 and 4 is not much at all.
Yeah.
So you're talking about a win or two, and I'm sure we'll get to wins here in a minute, but I'm definitely under on that.
Yeah, so what you're referencing there, if you took Texas Tech that was picked 4th in the preseason poll down through number 14, the DraftKings win totals at the time when that came out a few weeks ago ranged from 7.5 to 4.5, 5.5. There's only one 4.5 in there. So that's a tight range for a big number of schools. Leads to a lot of toss-up, pick-em type of games, right? So over-under, West Virginia's finish in the Big 12 regular season, 13.5.
We're better than that. We're not finishing last, so I'm going under.
Yeah. So this was an easy one. I started this one because I knew that was easy.
This was kind of like baby food. Like this was green peas.
Just
like first little thing. Hey, just give it.
I know the number based on 14th, but is your number too wrong? I mean,
I did it because I said, listen, you know where I stand on this. I would have taken the under. I said when this poll came out, if I could find a bet, yes or no, will West Virginia finish last in the Big 12? I'd take the no.
Yeah,
I'd load on the no.
Yeah.
I don't think that happens.
You can't find that bet anywhere?
I've not seen that yet.
How hard have you looked?
I've looked. I'd be interested in that bet.
I'm sure he has.
I mean, I could find it. I just haven't found it yet.
What if that's the number, and you're going under, right?
You're asking what if I put the number at
11.5.
Okay, so we often say this. We put the number out there, then a bet comes in. You got to slide the number.
You gotta move, so everybody came in under, so you got to move the number.
Yeah.
All right, so move the number.
Well, I think that's a good move to 11.5. Take the under.
I thought he'd go there.
I'm still going to go under. I'm still going.
I probably do too. Now, full disclosure, I have not gone through and done my Big 12 breakdown on wins for each team, but I think West Virginia finishes much better than what the preseason expectations are. I'll say that.
You're going under too.
Mm-hmm. I think I would.
Single digits.
I'm gonna go look.
9.5. All right. What if the number's 9.5?
Here he goes. I'll have to look.
I gotta look. Not prepared to answer that. Right.
Classic lawyer. That was a deposition answer. I'm sorry, not prepared to answer that right now. Not that I recall.
Okay, so that's an easy one. Just get us off started there.
Okay. Let me hit the music again. I like it.
All right. Another big theme: quarterbacks.
We've talked about them.
Friend of the program, Garrett Greene.
Well, Nico is too.
I know, but this one's going to be about Garrett.
Oh, specifically about him. Okay.
Yeah. Over under rushing touchdowns for Garrett Greene this season. Over under. The number opens at 8.5. 8.5 rushing touchdowns for Garrett Greene this season. Over or under. Some numbers for you. He had 5 last season in just 45 attempts, 9 games.
Wait a second. Time out. He scored a touchdown once every 5 times he carried the ball.
Once every 9 times.
I'm sorry, once.
Yeah.
I'm using new math.
Five touchdowns, 45 carries.
There's another rule. Never do public math. Yeah, once every 9 times he carried the ball, he scored a touchdown. Okay.
Rushing touchdown.
Understood.
Okay. 2021, he had 4 rushing touchdowns in 47 attempts. So just under 1 per 12 carries. Yeah. Pretty good. Go back and just look at some numbers. And I didn't go all the way back into the Pat White days, different quarterbacks. I did go back to Skylar Howard because that was kind of the last. Yeah. And Skylar wasn't necessarily a running quarterback, but a guy that they used to run the football quite a bit that year, right? He had 10 rushing touchdowns in 2016. That's the last time you've seen a quarterback at WVU with double-digit touchdown rushes. I was surprised at this. Greer only had 3 in 2018 and 2 in 2017. That surprised me for a guy that was pretty mobile.
Yes. I think his mobility was good enough to get out of harm's way, extend the drive, make a play, but he wasn't going to be that guy that's going to be an absolute bullet.
Because we saw what happened the one time he tried when he went to the pylon there, and it didn't end well.
He could also throw a bullet to a receiver in the corner of the end zone.
Yeah.
So Skylar, the year he rushed for 10 in 2016, he had 142 attempts. So a touchdown every 14 carries. So that includes scrambles and everything, remember. Okay, so numbers set at 8.5. Garrett's had 5 and 4. You've got to go back to 2016 when you saw Skylar with 10. So do some other rough math there. 100 rushing attempts for Garrett in an average of those numbers gets him to 10.
Mm-hmm.
But do those numbers come back down?
Yeah.
100 attempts over 12 games gives him 8.3 carries per game.
I think you're right.
That's probably right around it, right? That's a reasonable number for him between broken plays, designed runs, sneaks and options there, 8.5. So over under 8.5 rushing touchdowns for Garrett.
Would you like me to go?
Sure.
I say he goes over 8.5 run touchdowns. I say he goes over.
Okay.
Because I see him carrying the ball. It wouldn't surprise me. Now, obviously, this is predicated upon healthy. But it wouldn't surprise me if he carried the ball, let's say 8 times. 8 times a game is 96. And
assuming he plays all 12.
Assuming he plays all 12. So he's also the kind of cat, depending on how long they keep him out there, he could also maybe go for the hat trick against Duquesne and build up some good equity. You might get 3 against Duquesne, right? So I'm going to go.
He's also a guy that can rip off a 53-yard one, right?
Yeah,
Doesn't have to be the inside the 5 sneaker
no,
option.
No.
Okay.
I'm going over.
You're going over. All right. Now, Hop, before you answer,
Yes, sir.
Keep in mind, this roster has multiple really talented running backs.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yes.
So you got to factor that into your decision too. Over under 8.5 rushing touchdowns.
I'm going to go over. You're right. I mean, you have that supposedly great offensive line, deep running backs. What's the defense looking for? Looking for the running back. Oh, pulled the ball out, ran around the end, got a touchdown. Or if it's a design pass, he might not be as confident as Will Grier is to try to rifle the ball in there, when it's all crowded in the end zone. He might just take it himself. I'm going over.
You're going under.
No, I'm going over too. I was hoping one of you would go under so we wouldn't all have the same thing. I think, listen, if you have a guy that's talented running the football, assuming injury stays away, which you can't handicap the injury part of this. Let's hope he stays healthy all season. Assuming he stays healthy, I think he goes over those 100 carries. If Skylar Howard was a guy that carried it 142 times, it feels like Garrett's going to get over 100 carries, even with that backfield. So I think if that happens, he gets there. I think it's reasonable to think he can double his output on the ground from last year. Quite frankly, that surprised me that there was 5 and 4 each of the last 2 seasons.
Me too.
Those are pretty good numbers for not a ton of carries.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's reasonable, even though he's going to have to throw it more because obviously the other team is going to know he wants to run the ball as well. But I think he can get over 8.5 rushing touchdowns.
He has to become a prime focus for opposing defenses. And by that I mean they have to run him simply to honor his run so that it opens up the other things. So it opens up opportunities for the back. So it opens up the field for those receivers to get open. He has to be, he has to be the marked man every week and still find a way. I'm going to go over.
And as I've said many times, I can't wait to watch this offense because I think if the turnovers are controlled and Neal has the ability to open that playbook, just take what you can do down inside the 10 when you get there with the RPO inside with a big back like C.J. Donaldson. So those linebackers have to respect the 240-pound guy that can honk it up in there behind that great offensive line. You got to stop that first. But you can put Garrett on the corner. Now if he's on the corner, look at all the options there. If you had a 2-back set, someone's coming with him as a pitch man. Cole Taylor's flipping out there as a throw. You drop back and take the receiver. Greene takes off and dives at the pylon for a touchdown. I think the options exist, especially down inside tight to the goal line, which has been a problem. Right? Under Neal Brown, that has been a challenge for West Virginia inside that area because of why? You haven't had that threat. Yeah, you haven't had that threat. That's one of the things that opens up here as the field gets tighter. A running back or a quarterback that can make like a running back and take off helps you. So I think that becomes something that's a reasonable target to get to 10 for him, in my opinion.
Yeah. Can I submit a request?
Sure.
I'm not asking for this to be struck from the record. However, at the fear of becoming a Donnie Downer, you said behind that great offensive line.
You don't want me to say great?
I think it's an over statement.
Really?
Yes. Great is a big word. And again, the meaning of a word is in the person, not in the word. But my definition of great is that every single Saturday they absolutely just dominate a game to the point where you walk out of that stadium and you go like, whoa.
The 88 offensive line.
Yeah, just like mulching people. Here's what I'm hoping for this offensive line. I'm hoping that their worst Saturday, that people will say the offensive line played good or well. I'm just going to say good. And then on several occasions during the season, you can say the offensive line played very well or great. They can't have a bad Saturday. Their worst Saturday, to me, needs to be a good game.
Agree.
So I think in the past, this offensive line has shown, and it's many of the same faces, these guys have had some games where we went like, hey, these guys have turned a corner. But they've also had some Saturdays where it wasn't there. Inconsistency.
Right.
So all I'm hoping for, I'm not going to say it's a great offensive line. I'm going to say it has a chance to be a very good offensive line. All I want is the median I want is they're good every week, and some weeks they're really good.
What if But you guys have said, or it's been said, that 2 or 3 of those guys are NFL guys. So why shouldn't they? Why wouldn't they be great?
Excuse me. Can I step in and take over questioning for a minute?
Oh, go ahead.
Co-counsel, can I step in?
You're submitting to the man from Jefferson County.
Judge, can I approach?
You may. Go ahead.
You recently talked to an NFL personnel guy, been around the league a long time, evaluating NFL prospects. There are 5 starting offensive linemen on a team. I'm not. Is 5? Is there 5? Is the right number?
Your rhetorical question is correct. Yes.
Tight end.
In this particular person's opinion, that had been around it for every bit of a decade plus, almost 2 decades. This particular person, how many pros did he think were all along that West Virginia offensive line?
Starters or everyone?
How many professionals did he think were
on
along that starting offensive line?
On the 5?
Yeah.
3.
Excuse me?
Well, 2 for sure, maybe 3.
Is that what he told you?
Yes, sir.
He said there's 3
He
that
did.
Okay. How many did he say have a chance to play in the league?
Well,
Of those 5?
Of the 5 starters?
I remind you, you're under oath now. I remind you.
Answer the question, please.
Answer the question, sir.
Definitely 2 on the 5.
It's not what he said to you.
No, 3 guys have a chance.
It's not what he said to you. He said 4 have a chance.
Well, that's not the starters. I think there's someone that's a baby right now that he thinks is going to have a chance down the road.
Got the answer out anyway. 4.
There's 4 guys. No, wait.
Okay. So that's pretty good.
There's 4 guys that he thinks will be drafted in the NFL, and one of them he thinks could be a decade guy.
Last year on first downs, West Virginia averaged 5.5 yards per carry, ranked 16th nationally.
Take that.
Is that great?
It's extremely well. Okay. Extremely good.
Extremely good.
Had 5 200-yard rushing games last season. At least pretty good.
Yeah.
I leave great.
I wasn't trying.
Was great.
I'm saying it was great.
No, I wasn't trying to.
They need to be great. they need to be great. I mean, you're right.
I wasn't trying to change what you're saying. I'm just saying, like, I'm not gonna ordain them.
Well, the point is, if you're not going to be great now, when are you going to be great?
Not with this group.
Not with. I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot of pro guys right there. That you have got to be great and dominant way more times than you're not.
I mean, typically,
and you're right. There were times last year when they weren't. There's no question. I totally agree with that. But the addition of a guy back there that can scramble his way out of some trouble should assist.
Worldly
Again,
difference.
If Neil has the ability to trust that whole group, I think your playbook expands with some more options, which will also help. I mean, there's some things in there that we attribute to the offensive line that aren't the offensive line's fault that I think help that offensive line in totality. Does that make sense? You know what I'm saying there?
What was one of the challenges for the offensive line last year? Because the defenses knew that JT Daniels was not going to run.
One, and you couldn't get anybody by the back end of the defense, so everybody could suck up.
Yes. Right.
And you could leave corners on an island and drop the safeties into run protection and then say, okay, go ahead and beat us on the outside, and West Virginia couldn't do it. So there's a couple things that can really assist some of those numbers that we attribute to the offensive line that don't necessarily have to do with the offensive line.
100%.
All right.
In quarterbacks nowadays, you don't have to be a running quarterback, but you have to be able to extend plays.
Yes.
We have not been extending plays.
And how many times West Virginia plays teams with a guy that can extend plays, and you got 3rd and long, and the guy runs for a first down. And it's a backbreaker for the defense.
Backbreaker is a good word.
Under the belt.
The flip side, I mean, he's going to bring you that. Greene brings you that. We've already known that. We've seen it. You don't even have to see it again. He brings that. The question just continues with Garrett, as he said when he sat in this chair. I keep saying this every episode. He knows, and he said it. He's got to be able to throw the ball well enough that if he has to throw it to beat you, he can. And that's the consistency with no turnovers that's critical. The running's going to be there, but the running lessens in importance if they can't be successful throwing it too.
Yes.
And to continue on the great theme, he doesn't have to be a great passer. He has to be adequate. He has to be good enough. Doesn't have to be great. Has to be good.
Okay, we good? Or are you debating that?
He just has to stay away from turnovers. So whatever part you want to take that, he's just got to stay away from turnovers. That touchdown interception ratio to me is just massively important. You just cannot give the ball up.
I'm going to make a statement here. You may debate me on this. Going back and looking at those Skylar Howard rushing numbers for that team, it's not a bad blueprint for what you have here right now, if you think about it. That was a really good offensive line, too. They did a great job running the football.
Yes.
And Skylar, who we've said before, his numbers are unbelievable career-wise. So maybe he was further along as a passer probably at this point than Garrett. But what did he do extremely well that helped all of it in totality?
He ran that
over the long ball very, very well.
And Shelton Gibson was there to catch that long ball, right?
Yeah.
That was a good connection. That helped the running game. And then he was mobile enough. And again, I think Garrett's probably a better runner at this point than Skyler was, but Skyler was a super effective runner. There's some similarities there I think you can draw from.
I laughed inside myself there while you were talking about that team, because I just have this perception in my mind that Dana, like, even though that team won 10 games, he still bit his lip because they were never. He never.
It wasn't the way he wanted to do it.
He didn't want to do it that way, but instead he possessed the ball and he ran the ball because he had to give the defense an opportunity, and it worked like perfect.
I thought it was his best coaching job.
But at the same time, I can also imagine him going like. He had to hold himself back. He wanted to let that thing whip around the yard.
It wasn't him, but I thought it was one of those times where he really showed.
I thought it was his best coaching.
I did too. I'm going to be a head coach here. I'm not going to be the offensive coordinator that has the title of head coach.
Yes.
I'm going to do what I have to do to fit the skills of this particular team, and we're going to win games. And I thought they did that year, right?
Yeah, I thought it was
so
perfect.
this year, to me, I think there's some similarities. Again, long way from where this team sits now to getting to 10 wins. I'm not saying that, but I think some of those pieces you can move around and find some parallels.
Do you have another one?
Final one. I got one.
Wait.
In his last year, he rushed for 463 yards.
Skyler did?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice. That's a good chunk.
That's good.
Yeah,
that works.
That's a good chunk. Last over-under.
Stay on the ground. Rushing is going to be important this season. Agree?
Yes.
Agree?
Agreed.
Number of players to rush for a touchdown this year. Number of players to rush for a touchdown. Now, before I give you the number, I will say this. The person that set the line was fired earlier this morning after they set the line.
Who set the line?
They set the line
Who was
before
it?
doing all of the research.
Oh, it was you. And you fired yourself?
So I just, sometimes what I do in this hop, I'll just try and come up with like I have a general idea of what I think it may be, and you set the number, and then I go in and do the research on the back of this. Bad number here, I think.
So wait a minute. You set the number, then did the research?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's kind of backward.
Well, Hoppy, it's kind of like songwriters. You know, sometimes they start with the lyrics.
Sometimes they start with the melody.
Start with the melody. And
And sometimes what you do is you set your own numbers in place and then see what they're put in. That's how you know what's a bad number, a good number, or stay away.
All right. Okay. All right.
So I was kind of playing both sides of the equation there.
Got it.
Over under 4.5 number of players to rush for a touchdown this year.
Over.
Huh?
Over. You got 3 running backs.
Garrett Greene and Nico Markio. Fire yourself again. Yeah. Oh, so you're not okay. So you're not saying rushing touchdown. So if we line up someone in the slot and they run a jet sweep, that doesn't count.
Well, that's a rush.
Yeah. So is it? But it's not a running back. It's a slot receiver.
Anybody. I'm saying anybody.
Oh, you're way the heck. Well, horrible number. Okay. I want to take all of Hoppy's money, and I would like to place a wager saying over that.
You would.
4 guys. Only 4 guys.
I agree. The answer's over. But now here's what will surprise you, because you guys are acting like it's 10 guys. Go ahead and give me your number.
Okay.
How many do that?
I'm in the range of 7 to 8.
Ooh. 7 to 8. Okay. Since 2000, there's only been one version of the Mountaineers that had 8 players rush for a touchdown. Back in the Rich Rod days.
Okay.
So 8 does not happen.
Okay, let me just do this in my head. Yeah. And I'm probably over.
I bet 5 happens a lot.
Hold on. I'm going to go with the gentleman here that's acting like the number should have been 9.5 over under. Go ahead. Go ahead and name them.
So what did I say? 8? So Jaheim White.
Of course.
Heisman winner. He'll probably lead the team in rushing touchdowns.
Rodney Gallagher.
Oh.
C.J. Donaldson. Jalen Anderson. Justin Johnson. Garrett Greene, 6. Nico, 7.
Can't get any higher than 7.
You hitting a wall now, sir? Because you just said 8.
I know. Okay. Hang on. Just give me a second. Let me think of the roster. And I got to get one more cat. Yeah, one more cat will score. Like you're going to play Duquesne and you're going to put in someone that's not going to get a whole lot of tick. I'll go with 8. 7, 8.
The last time a receiver rushed for a touchdown at WVU would be
Darius Raynaud. Who was it?
Yeah, Tavon.
Was it? Holy heck.
Now, again, disclaimer, send me a text if I've missed that. I was trying to go quickly through there. I got all the way back to 2012 before I saw a receiver that scored a touchdown. That stunned me.
That old jet sweep, man, wearing that slot receiver coming over.
Jet sweep's fine, doesn't go for touchdowns.
I hear you.
Well, maybe they tossed him the ball and it goes as a pass.
Well, yeah, if it's this way, it is, yeah.
The average number. Okay, I'll do two things for you. The reason I said it was a bad number after I put the number is this stat here. West Virginia has had at least 4 players rush for a touchdown every year since 2000. Since at least 2000. I ran out of time to go back further than that. So since at least 2000, they've always had 4. So Hop, what I'm saying there, your floor is 4. Yeah. So the number shouldn't be 4.5 because that's an easy overplay right there. But here's the tricky part. The average since the 2000 season is 5.17 players with at least 1 touchdown. Hence the 4.5. I mean, the number's not as bad as I thought it was. When your first instinct is you're crazy, that's way too low. And I think it'll be low for this team. I think it does go over 4.5. But you just described getting to 8 doesn't happen. Rich did it one year.
Rich did it in 1 year when you had all them cats.
This is interesting. 2007 is when he had the 8 players rush for a touchdown. Only 10 players carried the ball that year.
How about that?
8 of them scored touchdowns.
But that number may be affected by the number of years you didn't have a running quarterback, right?
Yeah, but all that goes into your evaluation process. Yes, you may have 2 quarterbacks on this roster that can get you a rushing touchdown. I know that changes.
I think a better number is, obviously the better number is 5.5.
Okay, when was the last time West Virginia had 6 players or more rush for a rushing touchdown?
Probably the last time.
Because you said a better number would be 5.5. So you want to look at historically how often does that happen?
2012,
2011. Going back 12 seasons since the last time you had a team that has done that, Hoppy.
That's a really interesting set of numbers.
So you're probably right that that's a better number, but you might take a lot of under money at that point, right?
Yeah.
I just found that, again, when I thought in my head 4.5, because I was trying to make an argument on both sides,
right?
And then I got 4.5. I started thinking, no, that's too low. But then it comes out with the average being 5.17 over the last 23 seasons, over multiple coaches.
Stunned.
Some that love to run it, some that so you had a balance there of coaching style.
Stunned, I tell you, stunned.
Good. So your number makes sense.
Hey, I don't want to give you work. I'll go back and look at myself. I'd like to see the final stats from like Nealon. 84 season, just like what was that number like, right?
Let's see.
Anyway.
Keep talking. We can maybe find that.
2 things on that. We kind of, as we evolve on this podcast and what we should have done, we should have a contest for our listeners so they can get in on these over-unders. We post them somewhere. That Vinny,
we can still do that, yeah.
Vinny, the gaming guy, like we should have that and like, you win a bag of Kirchhoff's coffee at the end of the season if you hit some of these things.
Okay.
Hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, 84.
8, yeah.
8.
Yeah.
8. But that's back in the era when you had
Ron Wolfley, John Gay,
John Hollifield, Pat
Randolph,
Tommy Gray,
Tommy Gray,
Robert White, John Talley, Kevin White. 2
of those guys passed away. Tommy Gray gone and Robert White's gone.
What's different from 84 to now?
Oh, today
the game.
Do you throw it a little more?
Entire game.
So anyway, I thought that one was the most. That's why it went last. I thought that was the most interesting, going from what I thought was a bad number to what the average tells you. It's probably not that bad of a number versus what happens this year. And I think, Tony, you bring up the point there. Like, does a receiver come back into play as a rushing touchdown? Is that a way to get Rodney Gallagher the ball? Is there someone else that can get it? It's interesting.
With that 84 team, it was a lot of guys on that team.
That was a superb team. Talked to some guys from that team just this past weekend.
Oh, yeah, that was the Kevin White team.
That was the Kevin White. I was with Undra, and I was with Timmy Agee and Chris Pecan.
Agee was on that team?
Agee might have been – no, he might have been the year – that one, 83.
Year after?
Yeah, year after him. I believe. 3 guys before the game brought to us by Comax. Their digital phone systems, competitively priced using the most efficient technology, which means that you'll save money. You can call Comax for a free price quote. They'll come in. Whether you need 1 line for your business or 1,000, they'll provide that phone system that's best suited for you. Visit ComaxWV.com. What are you incredulous about over there?
Not incredulous. That defense had 16 interceptions. Whitey
Daniels.
Daniels had
Stacy
4.
Smith. Whitey Daniels.
Rich Rodriguez had 2 picks.
Rich had one in the '84 Penn State win. Larry Holly also had a pick.
Larry Holly, Van Rich. I mean,
was a good
16, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 16 interceptions.
Last year's defense for West Virginia had 4.
Yeah.
4.
Whitey Daniels had 4.
Whitey Daniels a player.
He's a player.
Hit you right in the face.
He would.
Hit you right in the face. 3 guys also brought to us by great folks at Burdett Camping. Visit them at burdettcamping.com. If you're going to buy an RV, why wouldn't you buy it from them? Everything they sell, the warranty lasts forever, which is an extremely, extremely long time. 1, 2, 3, go.
You didn't do number of wins. You didn't do wins.
No, didn't do overall wins.
You can text whenever your fingers would like at 304-404-4083. That's 304-404-4083. Textual Healing brought to you by absolutely no one because we don't have a sponsor. If you'd like to sponsor Textual Healing, so that could be like anybody. It could be like someone that heals people, right? Chiropractor, someone like that. Healer, physical therapy place, they heal you. Call us for sponsorship opportunities. Ask for Hoppy. Oh, he won't be around.
This week, somebody said, because I used it on the show, they said, when did efforting become a word?
By the way, I tell you what, that efforting merchandise that we have on the website is crushing it.
It's doing well. People like that.
Yeah, for those of you that haven't checked out our website, it's episode800.com, episode800.com. You can buy our merch. You can buy coffee. I think we have some livestock on there as well this week, special livestock series.
Unconfirmed. New styles being added often.
We also have 2 propane tanks and a trampoline. Episode800.com. Check it out.
Unconfirmed.
Texter, Tony. Tony, the Bible says the love of money is the root of all evil. Money will be the downfall of college, i.e. semi-pro sports. Well, unnamed texter, it may not be the downfall. It may already be happening. How else can you explain the absolute craziness of where we are with these schools? Texter, guys, I was golfing with P1 Jason. He casually tossed out the Mountaineers have a good chance of going 8-4 this season. At first, I did not believe him, but as you know, he's got history of cashing impressive tickets at the sports book. So when he talks sports, I listen. As I looked into things further, we will obviously be a huge favorite against Duquesne, but prohibitive underdogs versus Penn State, TCU, and Oklahoma. This is a question for Brad. For all intents and purposes, do you see the other 8 games as pick'ems? Thinking it's probably a good idea to hammer the over on 4.5 wins set by Matt and Tulsa.
Go ahead. You want to do wins. Would you take the over or under 4.5 win total that's been posted?
Over. No question.
Thank you, Hoppy.
Same.
Texter.
May have already actually.
You were
may have already actually
you were
done
throwing
it.
down there like you. I would. Well, we're not going to do it today, I guess.
No, not yet. Where do you save your tickets? Do you have like a big thing where you put your tickets?
No, online app.
Oh.
So last year, if you remember, the number was 5.5.
Right.
I went over.
Got beat.
Still,
Got beat.
lost, losing ticket. Still think it was the right bet.
Yeah.
Because I only needed one of those first 2 games. West Virginia should have had both those. So I still think over 5.5 last year was the right
and
play.
And it's still 5.5 this year. It's 5.5 this year, right?
It was a loss. Depends. Some that got in early got it at 4.5.
I would go
then
over.
It moved up
I'd
to
go
5.5.
over 5.5. Yeah.
Texter.
Oh, sorry.
Hold on real quick. To directly answer the question, though, they won't be true pick'ems where it's a pick'em. Right. But I think most
Pretty
of those
close.
other games, those are going to be all awfully
Point
close.
1.5, 2 points, 3 points.
3, in there. Yeah.
But that's
A lot of them
you
will
can't
be.
say at this point. I mean, you can predict, but so much will change.
Yeah, so much will change. But I think as you look at those right now, I think almost and that was my argument for not finishing last. I think there's so many teams that are in that pocket of teams that just flip a coin on any given week. Who has the injury, who does not? Which quarterback's out, which is not? There's those factors, and I think there's a bunch of games in this league and on West Virginia's schedule that will hinge and flip on those factors.
One last point to Matt from Tulsa's text. Think about this. We brought those two guys together. So Matt from Tulsa and P1 Jason, who moved to Tulsa, they became buddies because of three guys. Remember Jason? He used to be down there in Fort Worth. He was the guy
to Arizona.
Go to Arizona, fly to and put his the heck he called it, coaster, his flying WV coaster down at the bar inside the lounge because he was traveling. Now those guys are buds.
Cool.
Hey, here at Three Guys, we're just trying to
bring people together.
Build friendship.
Happy to connect.
People, some call us the football version of Tinder. Three Guys.
That's not still a thing, is it?
I won't. Is it not in business anymore? I don't know. I know I won't be the only one to address this, but I feel I've got to once again come to our beloved Hoppy's aid.
Oh, thank you. Whew.
All these Mountaineers jumping on him for stating the obvious about Neil Brown and Penn State feels an awful lot like when the Orioles did to poor Kevin Brown. In a world where USC will play Indiana on a semi-regular basis, even this seems stupid. From building Adirondack chairs, I'm sure for the homeless, single-handedly publishing Retaining Wall Monthly, and being the world's liaison to all things Joe Manchin, ladies and gentlemen, Hoppy is a national treasure.
National treasure.
Those knuckle-dragging, mouth-breather haters probably salt and pepper their Kit Kats anyway. All kidding aside, we do love you, Hoppy.
Thank you.
Have a great sabbatical and see you at the food court with the 4-pack of beer and the half-eaten Slim Jim signed by Philip in Tampa.
Thank you, Philip. That goes in the thin file. I wrote a commentary today about my hope for the Mountaineers season, and I said I repeated, I'm not counting the Penn State game, and because I thought it was unfair to play two Power 5 teams in non-conference. And the first comment was, unfair to Coach Brown? That's laughable. If his teams were better, it wouldn't seem so unfair. Let's say WVU was ranked in the top 10 or top 20, then playing Penn State would be considered a great opportunity. Stop with the unfairness crap, said the response to my commentary.
They didn't agree with you.
Texter.
Difference of opinion.
Joe from Boaz, north of Parkersburg, south of Williamstown.
Hello!
Bicycle ring tongue click. If NIL is not somehow regulated, then what is the purpose of a scholarship? Wasn't the limited number of scholarships created to level the playing field? Well, that's all out of the window with this NIL stuff. That said, if NIL is not somehow regulated, then your Alabamas and your Ohio States will continue to attract and pay the most talented athletes like they did already anyhow. You say, how does this work? Well, if an athlete makes 6 to 7 figures, they can pay for their own schooling and not use up a scholarship, right? Maybe WVU needs to rethink their offerings and do this in reverse. Give scholarships to the more questionable athletes and pay the outstanding athletes. This means the outstanding athletes can pay for their spot on the team. I mean, schooling. Does that make any sense? Load up and see what happens. Boy, there's an awful lot there. So we'll turn it over to Brad. Would you care? Jump in at all?
No.
Okay, so what you're saying there is just, I mean, with all due respect, no, it'll never happen. That'll never happen. Texter, but I appreciate you listening. Texter, hello, conference disaster management. This is how he wants it. 40 teams, 4 divisions of 10 teams, a 12-team playoff, a salary cap, 2-year player contracts. The bottom 2 teams get higher salary cap to help even the field. Relegation of the bottom 5 teams every 4 years to lower FBS. Saudi-sponsored like LIV Golf to pay for it all. And all other sports go back to normal. Go back to normal. That is good.
There's no, it makes too much sense. Any organization makes too much sense.
Texter, doubt you'll read this since you've ghosted me on the last several, but here goes. I think the catastrophic conference evolution.
I'm sorry.
I think the catastrophic conference evolution will lead to football, and maybe men and women's basketball teams will be the only sports that make up a power conference, and all of the non-revenue Olympic sports will
Strike
be in
non-revenue.
Excuse me?
Strike non-revenue from the record, please.
And all of the Olympic sports will be in regional leagues like the old ECAL. Was it Eastern Conference? This is a natural progression that will save money and still lead to national championships for all sports. I think a lot of what you say, this will get me in trouble, but I don't care. A lot of what you say is correct. I don't know if it'll happen in our lifetime, but realistically, I think what you're saying makes a lot of sense.
Speaking of not, what do you call it, Brad, if it's not revenue sports? What do you call it?
Olympic, because here's why.
Olympic sports?
Here's why. Okay, can I explain why?
Yeah. That's fine.
Women's soccer at WVU
Right.
is, I assume, what Rusty here is counting in as one of the sports, right?
Okay.
His name there's no name was given on this.
Oh. Rusty's the next test?
Yeah.
Sorry, Rusty. Anonymous texter. Women's soccer. They're charged tickets. There's tickets for women's soccer. You pay for those tickets, right?
So there's revenue.
So it is revenue producing.
Yeah.
May not be profit making,
Okay.
but it's revenue producing.
Hey, that makes sense.
So not all of the sports that people lump into those categories are non-revenue. Some are non-revenue. They don't charge for tickets.
Like rifle?
Rifle would be a non-revenue. There's no revenue coming in from the rifle side of things.
Speaking of which, WVU Olympic sport women's soccer team begins play tonight against Duke, I think. Am I right about that? I think I am. Point being, Nikki Izzo Brown beginning her 28th season.
Unbelievable.
28, 22 appearances in the NCAA. So she has coached women's soccer at WVU, Brad, during 5 football coaches, the tenure of 5 football coaches. And talk about consistency and dedication and success. I mean, WVU women's soccer stands out. I know it doesn't produce as much revenue as the primary revenue sports, but talk about an established, successful program with a respected coach that has stayed at West Virginia.
Absolutely.
Can you find another
Amen.
example?
Nope.
Can
Amen.
you find one?
No.
They do open. This is Thursday. We're recording. They do play Thursday evening versus Duke.
The Dukes?
Mhm.
They're down there?
Down there.
Yeah. Texter, heck yeah. I've got a van, and I will run Kercheval to Orlando, Florida like Smokey and the Bandit. Signed by Rusty from beautiful Monroe County. Oh, Jack just yelled across the wall. Jack, we don't have that?
Extensive intercom
Anyway,
system we have here.
Remember to drive. Don't drive, like if the speed limit's 70, don't drive 80, but also don't drive 60. Just drive like 73. Don't get pulled over with that all that Kercheval in there.
Hey, Jack, do you have the next picture? Yeah, okay, perfect. Thank you.
Gosh.
High level.
What a slipshod
Intercom system
program.
is elite.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you think, like, if we
need to at least get like a doggy door in the wall that you can open? Can we get something? I mean, I just can't even see him just screaming across.
This is a beautiful studio, but there is a shortcoming. There should,
an intercom. He should be able to talk in my ear.
He should be able to push a button and
talk in my
communicate
ear.
Yeah.
I know.
Can't do that.
Well, you could. We just haven't got
We
it.
got the message. It's a podcast. Don't worry about it.
Makes it a little bit more organic.
It makes it a little bit more shoddy is what it makes it.
See, here's your problem, dude.
What?
Here's your problem.
I want to know what my problem is. Please tell me what my problem is.
Your problem is that you view this program as traditional radio, and it's not. No. You strive to get the professionalism of a radio broadcast like you do on a show, and you don't realize that these things are like, it's just a free-for-all. So when there's dead air and your nerves get so tight that you start putting on your lip balm, or when I yell across the wall to say, hey, do we have that picture? That just stresses you out to a different level.
I guess you're right. I guess my problem is I care too much.
Oh, is that what we're going to go with?
I guess that my desire for professionalism is just holding us back. I guess that's what it is. I'm sorry.
Well, if you really cared enough, probably wouldn't leave us for the next 3 weeks. So you could take that one and sail your boat down the river there. Jack Wing. Friggin' guy cares so much. See you, don't want to be you. Anyway.
Glad we're not live.
Texter, yesterday, and I'll butcher this, but yesterday in Obadios, Portugal, I may have met the match for the pepperoni roll.
First Portugal reference on the program.
May have met the match for the pepperoni roll.
Okay, what do we got?
A pão com chorizo, a crusty roll with sliced chorizo.
Oh, I'm in.
Made in this centuries-old wood-fired oven in a basement bakery. I felt that you would enjoy this information.
Excellent.
Would you look at those things? Look at that bread.
I would eat
It's
6
got
of those right now.
Got chorizo in there.
In on chorizo.
And this is from Chaz and Katie, 3 guys listeners in Portugal. And there's Katie holding the pão com chorizo.
Awesome.
Pão com chorizo.
They
Crusty
live there?
roll
They're
slice.
visiting? Or what?
I believe they're visiting.
Okay.
From the States. I believe, let me see here. Yeah, they're from Richmond, Virginia in Portugal, listening to 3 guys.
Did you ask them if they could be part of the food court coming up?
I would think we're going to have some
Being
pepperoni.
Tony, he's just going to say, they're going to be there.
I cannot promise. Chaz and
now
Katie.
Now you can't promise something. Oh, that was we found the line. Now he can't promise. The Portugal chorizo maker will not be at the 3 guys.
Don't know if they're coming back. Texter.
How's that coming, by the way?
Food court?
Yeah.
Great. I mean, it couldn't go any better. Why would you ask? You have any doubts on that? Got people lined up.
Who's got hives? It's like I can't.
Lined up.
I did have to bust into a meeting that was happening yesterday about it that I wasn't invited to and make sure I oversaw.
Oh, really?
Yeah, wasn't invited. Just walked in.
He walked in, and our boy was on the phone working on all kinds of.
Who, Dave?
Yeah.
Is Dave working on this?
Well, hell yeah, he's working
That's
on this.
the only
We'll
way
get nothing
anything
done if he doesn't work on it.
Yeah.
Who do you think is me? You think us too?
Yeah.
I'm trying to find out where Aubrey.
He's already moved. He's doing something in December now. He's already forgotten that he's promised a food court.
I tell you, I am so. At least you guys are connected. I just show, like you guys say, it's here at this time. I just show up and everything. Dave's already done everything. It's perfect. I feel like a rock star. Just show up.
Well, you are Hoppy in this show.
My writer says I need a couple of Kirchhoffs here before I go on.
Texter, Tony, Brad, let's give Hoppy a break. Can we all just agree the program is simply live to tape? A West Wing rewatch brought this phase to mind, signed by Ryan S. in Morgantown and soon to be living in Cincinnati. Yeah, this is live to tape.
It really is live to tape. We don't edit.
We don't edit it, so it goes live to the tape.
Probably didn't need to
live
say that.
But there's no actual tape though. I mean,
no,
it's
not
live
anymore.
to digital.
Digital. Maybe I'd say maybe out of 470 some episodes, I may have edited less than 5. Just like when I went over the rail various times, I'll just I'm going to go back and pull that last piece out. Texter, hey 3 guys, we often bring up a what if scenario about WVU players and coaches that we can only dream about. What if we beat Pitt in 07? What if Bobby Bowden stayed longer? I have a what if scenario that could actually happen. What if, for one day only, what if Tony and Brad host Talkline? Hoppy hosted Sportsline with Coach Hunter.
All have happened.
What do you mean? No,
You've never done anything with
once.
Talkline? Yeah.
20 years ago, I hosted it once, and it was an absolute freaking debacle.
Did you really?
He had me do steam release. I didn't do a full program. I did steam release. Got into steam release and out.
When was it?
Broke into hives, sweat.
I had to go somewhere or something. And
did a final half hour. This is turning into a love fest for you, but I've said this, mate. I've said this to you and about you. I do think it's remarkable, Tony, that he can do what he does most of the time. Come over then into the sports world, our world that we do all the time, and hang like he does.
Absolutely.
Because you could not reverse those tables and put me on his show unless we're talking about sports, and me hang for not even one show, 100%. Let alone a week, let alone a year.
100%.
So,
very kind of you to say.
A lot of credit to you. So you can take that text, or you can take, who is that? Jeff
in Edwards,
take that
California.
right off because I got no shot of hosting Talkline.
0, never, ever,
Couldn't
ever.
do it.
That's the shame because I just did the schedule. I'm going to be out for a while, and you guys are hosting Talkline.
Couldn't do it. Greg in Catlettsburg, 3 things for the 3 guys. Texas, Oklahoma leave the Big 12. Bob Bowlesby goes to the Pac-12 commissioner to talk about an alliance, if I'm not mistaken. The offer's turned down. Pac-12, Big 10, ACC come together, some sort of gentleman's agreement to which fingers were crossed. Now the ACC is flustered. The Big 10/12 poached the Pac-12. Got to laugh at the irony. Texter, at the start of the game broadcast, instead of Martinsburg to Matewan, next year will Tony say from Morgantown to Tucson, Provo to Orlando? This is Big 12 football.
Pretty good.
Lastly, he says we should get analog clocks like in the old newsrooms.
Yep.
Yeah.
Put all the analog.
Yep.
Now we got
Oh, that's a
times
good
up.
idea.
Yeah, I do like those
Yeah.
clocks.
That'd be pretty good.
That was always, like, this is a CBS Evening News.
Yes,
It's
exactly.
6 o'clock in New York. It's 5 o'clock.
Read the whole texture. This is pretty good. Talks about getting Pacific Mountain Sun, and he goes, and whatever Italy is in for Nate. Nate Adrian.
It would be Tony.
He's
what,
there.
7?
Nate Adrian's
yeah,
there.
Nate's there.
Yeah, he's there.
That's a 6-hour time difference.
They'd be 6 hours ahead, 7
Yeah.
hours.
Greg Hunter brought out this week when they released O'Nelly, and they said he will appear at halftime of the Big 12 football championship game, and they listed it in Central Time.
No, they didn't.
Yeah, they did. They got 4 frickin' time zones coming here. Outrage. This next one is really interesting. Not that the others haven't been, but this is interesting. Scopes, spreads, and bellhop. Ring, ring. While
didn't bring my
watching,
bell
Ring your bell.
while watching the 1987 Boston College West Virginia football game on MSN recently on the YouTubes, I inadvertently uncovered the root cause behind Tony's nearly 40-year harassment of Undra Johnson. In only 45 seconds, poor Undra sealed his fate with Tony. Here is the link to check it out for yourself from Football Fury on YouTube. All right, guys,
Wait a minute, when is this
roll the
again?
video.
87?
Just roll the video. Roll the video. There's no audio. Wait, there's no. Why is there no audio? There's no audio. There's no audio. There's no audio. There's. You're hearing audio?
Is it maybe out there?
No, it's out there. You can't hear it. Anyway,
All right, that's okay. That's Undra.
the point of it is this.
Graphic.
I'm on there doing the game with the late Tom Mees. And I say, Undra Johnson's a great young man. He's very smart. Whatever he does in life, he'll become highly successful.
Oh, really? Okay.
That's what I said. The guy put it out there verbatim.
Accurate.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I say he's the kind of kid, very smart, very intelligent. He's got a lot going for him besides very good football skills. And then he runs this play. John Talley goes over in motion, handoff to Undra. Balls out! Balls out! Fumble! Look at Major Calvin Phillips. They just walk off the field, and there goes Undra.
no.
Yeah, Undra fumbled.
But
But
Under
did-
said he doesn't fumble.
Can you show that? I mean, he probably took a heck of a hit, though.
Oh heck no! He just greasy football. So anyway,
jeez.
so there
Who
goes
won the game?
Oh, we were beating them. We beat them. Well, it was BC. We'd always beat BC.
Always beat BC. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true.
1987 Undra fumbles. If you'd like to go see that, you can
Oh,
watch. Anyway, so the caller or texter put that out there.
that's harsh, man.
I doggone it. I wish that doggone audio. The audio was classic.
Yeah, why
Tommy-
can't we hear the audio?
I don't know. I have no idea.
You
why
were
I
doing the
can't
game
hear
with Tom Mees. Were you
it. I was
play or
doing
color?
color.
You were doing color?
Oh, sure.
What was your analysis of that play? What'd you give it?
My analysis was this. This is what the guy wrote that I said. I said, here's my great football insight. He'll basically do what he wants to do when he gets out of school. I mean, he's that kind of kid, very smart, intelligent guy, and he's got a lot going for him besides his very good football skills. Next play, Undra fumbles.
And you see, and you've never let him forget it.
Well,
Like 40 years later, you
I didn't
still
even
remember.
remember
He does
that.
harass.
Oh
Under.
my gosh!
I don't remember that fumble. I remember the Maryland fumble from '87.
Where the ball laid there?
Yes. Undra and I were sitting there at practice last Saturday night, and we were talking about the Maryland fumble. He's Tony. I said, yeah. He said, how about that next play? Farrell Edmonds from Maryland caught it. He said, he stiff-armed one of our defensive guys, and I said, yep, and he ran all the way to Bethesda, right down the hash. I could see it like yesterday, straight down the left hash. He went, knocked out. Farrell Edmonds was a great player, played in the NFL, just a massive tight end. He could have run out of the stadium. Didn't touch him.
Oh,
Game.
jeez. But you know, the play before the fumble, you see Undra had some wheels.
Oh, yeah, he was fast.
Yeah.
Fast. Old greasy hands under.
Totally unfair.
That is really, really unfair.
Guy left school as like the third all-time leading rusher, did he
Yeah.
not?
He did. Yeah, he did. Do you know?
What?
Do you know he manages now over $300 million?
Is that right?
Yes, he does. Think about that.
Well, you're right. You had good analysis
I
on him.
got-
You
yeah,
said
you
he wanted
did.
to be
You nailed
successful.
it.
That was great
Yeah.
analysis.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Texter, Scope, Spreads, and Dean. Going to try to keep this short. Just listen to the last episode. I agree with the Dean that Neil Brown's job is on the line, and it's the storyline going into the season, in my opinion. Don't let the people get you down, Hoppy. Stand on what you wrote. I haven't tried Kirchhoff yet, but looking forward to a glass soon. P.S. I haven't texted the show since 2019 when I was driving through the Senator's birth state. He is a true West Virginian in my book, as are you, Tony. Love the show. We all keep efforting. Signed by Grant and Red House.
Thank you, Grant.
Thank you, Grant. Appreciate that.
Texter, Spreads, Suds, and Scopes, all emotions aside, would you have rather kept Oklahoma and Texas or have things play out the way they have with the 8 new schools? Personally, I believe Oklahoma and Texas have greater value than the new 8 combined. I think the new league will be fun, but losing those brands was not made up with the additions of the new schools.
You know, is that finished that?
Glass half full perception. The league's more stable than it would have been with the remaining at 10, Charlie and Princeton.
You have to count your lucky stars here a little bit, because I was reading a guy for CBS did a big long piece about what's happened over the last 15 years and how close the Big 12 came to imploding several times.
Flatlining. They were flatlining.
Yes. And West Virginia would have been left out in the cold. Because remember, there was all the schools were going to go to the Pac-12, and they couldn't work it out. The Pac-12 didn't want to do the special Texas deal, and then something. I mean, it was close. It was this close. So, Texas leaving, Oklahoma leaving. Okay, that's too bad. But you have to be relieved, like the Donner Party, that you got out of that alive.
You know, he makes some really good points. I definitely think it's more stable than it would have been had it stayed at 10. But there's no doubt you take a national brand hit. And, you know, it's the national narrative, Hoppy, is so many times the same as what we say about the TV folks, that they just want to talk about up here.
Yes.
When meanwhile, there's all of this great going on across the country in so many different leagues at different levels. That's why we like to watch the game.
Right.
We watch the games starting from whenever time we're in there and they kick off. Right, later in the season, we get to those 11 a.m. kickoffs, and we watch all those games.
So it's a great game.
Every single week, do we not find some games that don't involve Oklahoma and Texas and Michigan that we go, oh, that was a great game. Hey, did you see that? And we talk about it all day. To me, the essence of football, it's reflected. The TV folks and the national narrative are like the same narrative. It's we want to talk about 20 different schools, 10 different schools, and that's it. And you better win at an elite level like TCU before we talk about you last year. And then even when we do, we're going to talk about you as the plucky underdogs, even when you're not. Right. So to me, I think the Texture's right on with all of that, but that doesn't mean I won't like the new league as it's constituted. It got deeper, but it did lose some national brand at the top for whatever that's worth. Whatever that's worth. I don't know what it is.
You know, maybe we're the aberration, Brad. Maybe not. I don't know you, but you're right. I mean, that's what the TV networks want, the big games. But you're right. We're watching the games. We got 4 TVs going. We can put on other channels. And the Texas game, or forget the Oklahoma game, and they're beating somebody by 30. And meanwhile, Iowa State and Kansas State are coming down to the wire. What are we watching?
And it's fun watching Kansas State, Iowa State. And that's Oklahoma that's won a lot. I mean, Texas is out there. We might not be watching Texas because they haven't beaten anybody either.
No.
They've been middle of the road.
Yeah.
So, I mean, don't give me a soapbox about all this. Get out of here.
3 Guys Before the Game is brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun, pontoon boat specialists. Visit them at LouWendellMarineSales.com. They're located in St. Albans, but check out their website. Premier pontoon boat dealer in the state of West Virginia, Lou Wendell Marine Sales. Texter, I remember you guys discussing the Arizona State Athletic Director's comments about not going to Morgantown. I'm sure you all saw, but he did apologize, said he looks forward to visiting, so that was nice. Unfortunately, I feel like this is going to happen more often as different college football cultures clash, or maybe not. Signed by Professor Vinny. I agree with you. As I've said multiple times, this was a really good culture of the schools that we had in this league, and that will no longer be the case because it's just too many different cultures, too many views from a wide expanse of area. It's just they live differently, they think differently. It's going to be different. It's not going to be what it was, but things change.
That is true. That is true. And it will be true for a while, but also it's true if you start playing these teams, then things happen that cause you to be more interested in said game.
Correct.
Okay.
But as you know, you're 100% right. But Hoppy, I think you and I will be long gone because we've been in the Big 12 now for 11 years, and we're just now starting to get a little bit of a vibe because you have to play a bunch of games in order to build up some collateral as to why you like them or you don't like them or the great games. And so just now after a decade, so it's probably, if this current configuration, it'll take 20, 30 years.
You think that long?
I truly
and chances are good it won't be intact in 20 or 30 years. You'll move on to a different set or subset. Yeah, Ray Anderson's the ASU AD, and he made a mistake. He botched that. He was trying to be funny, didn't come off well. Since apologized, handled that well.
Move on.
He'll be here in Morgantown. He'll be fine. He could, if he would have just started with all due respect, and then delivered his blow, probably would have been all right. I mean, he just forgot to do that, Hop.
Yeah, I mean,
as we often do on this show.
That covers everything.
Yeah, if you just say with all due respect, then then you're fine.
You're all good.
Texter, 3 guys. You often mention relegation in the world of conference consolidation based on the news of Hoppy's upcoming sabbatical. I think there should be 3 guys relegation. 2 or more missed shows in a month. Hello! Nate Adrian. Leave a scheduled appearance early before the event is done. Hello! Coach Hunter's in. Just a thought to help push this stupid podcast toward 800. Keep up the great work, and let's go Mountaineers. He might have that might be a pretty good point. Hoppy gets relegated. All of a sudden, turn on WAJR Radio Morgantown. He's hosting Trading Post.
It could be like European.
You saw what happened. I mean, Nate, after 1 year on the program, you saw what he decided. He said, "Get me out of here. I'm not doing this.
Yeah,
I'll go over to Italy."
Thank you very much.
Could be after like European soccer. Just get relegated.
Yeah, you're out.
Yeah, I get it.
We're not getting to 800.
What's the
no way.
What's the wager on Spain and England?
Don't know.
Okay.
U.S. out, I'm out.
Okay.
Texter.
Western and Southern. What's the wager on Western and Southern?
Who?
Tennis.
Out, but I do have a tennis wager in play for the event in Cincinnati that you'd like to go to that you say is really good.
Yeah, Western and Southern.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. What's your wager? Do you know?
Yeah, Sistipas to win his quarter.
Okay.
Thank you for asking.
Bet in a quarterfinal match of the
not an original
tennis match in
I have a tennis guy that I listen to, not an original thought there.
No. Now, if you had him to win it, the whole thing.
No, quarter. Just a quarter. Just win his quarter.
My wife calls him Greek Jesus. Tsitsipas.
Well, let's go Greek Jesus. Get me home.
Greetings and salutations, says Texter.
Tony completely tuned out on that.
I've got a couple of items, though. I think one was really a sports line topic. I know concession is king. I know being short is king. I'll just, whatever the word was. So I'll be brief first. And this has nothing to do with WVU, but something that Dan Wetzel said, and it seems to be a national narrative that Washington is this great brand, University of Washington. Mm-hmm. I lived 45 minutes south of that campus for a decade. There was no buzz. They were awful at the time. They went 0-12, and there was little angst. Can you imagine West Virginia going 0-12? The second thing is the practices against other schools. It would be great, but they'd have to keep TV's hands out of it, or it becomes an infomercial for schools like Alabama, Georgia, etc. The rules would have to be to lock it down, and when has college athletics ever done that? Sound by Sean in Raleigh. Yeah.
So you don't think he doesn't think Washington's a good brand?
Correct.
Where do you think Washington fits? That's because we're way over here. I mean, where do you think they fit in national branddom?
See, that's interesting. Sean wrote that. Just this morning, I saw something with a graphic up there talking about Washington. I had not as harsh a thought there, but a similar thought that they really do get a pass in all of this as just an automatic. And I know they've got some great history. They had some great teams before, but I know it's a wonderful setting.
Don James.
But a boat, move the boats right up to the state, which would be awesome.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, I get it. That they show games, so it's beautiful. And maybe this is East Coast bias, but did they get too much of an automatic pass there? In the whole discussion, or there's just not a lot out on the West Coast?
I think they often
do. You got to have few.
I think they often do get a pretty nice pass. They have a lot of built-in collateral, it seems, and they've kind of become they just kind of got anointed with Oregon. And if you're going to bring Oregon, you got to bring Washington. And they get a little bit more than what they've done.
I mean, they get
national.
Respect. I mean, they get national
basketball has been right.
Yeah, they've been bumbling around there in basketball for a while. Yes.
Now so this is last year, September 24th. They had 65,000. Okay. September 30th, 41,000. October 8th, 39,000.
Yeah.
October 15th, 63,000.
Yeah.
So I don't know who the opponents were, but probably
what are you quoting there? Those are attendance numbers?
Attendance numbers.
That doesn't matter anymore. Nobody cares.
For TV.
guys don't care about
TV.
I don't care.
Texter.
But okay. So let's say
let's not talk about
let's say Washington is playing Wisconsin. What's your interest factor? What's your interest in it?
Okay, my interest factor is Washington good? I'll watch it if Washington's good. If it's going to be a slap fest, then I shrug my shoulders.
So if Washington's, but okay, it's early season. It's this third week, and Washington's playing Wisconsin.
I'll watch it. I'll watch it until I see if Washington's terrible, then I'll turn it off. And if it's a competitive game, I'd absolutely watch it.
All right, Brad.
You can't ask me that question. You know me.
Your games.
I'm watching every one of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I'm not a good judge of that.
Okay. Just wondering.
Adam from Weirton writes in, I'm hoping that Weirton can get some Kercheval sometime soon.
Well, it's way up there, Northern Panhandle. That's a problem, right?
You
were just up there. You could have dropped some off.
I was there this morning. But I mean, I'd be like Groover, bringing those Sixtels in the back of my car, driving that new part of my.
I don't know if he did that.
Who? You're saying
it's not public consumption there.
Okay.
What now?
Tony just saying stuff he shouldn't be saying.
What? But Groover drives around with Sixtels in the back of his car.
That happens.
Doesn't have any place to live. May as well be driving around. He has no home.
Ain't got
he
no
just drives
home.
around listening to podcasts, figuring out what Tony throws out there that he then has to go clean up.
Oh, I got to get on that.
Oh, geez, Tony mentioned the food court again. Tell you what, we got a great commitment on the food court this week from barbecue.
Is that right?
From what?
Barbecue.
Oh, okay.
Barbecue's in. Big.
Okay. I mean, this is happening?
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't know if they're going to be there every week, but
here we go.
Got a commitment from a pizza place.
Don't do that. Stop.
World's number one pizza. Number one pizza in the world. In the world, they're in.
Are they, Brad?
No, he's way over his skis on that. They're not in. They have not said they are in.
They're in.
I don't even know if they've been asked.
Yeah. Don't let details get in the way. They're in.
It's just unbelievable.
Tony, you do have, but what did we say last show? Well, you never get in trouble for these things.
Well, he's gonna when 3,000 people show up to the food court and it's not.
He won't be there. He won't be there. You'll be there.
I'll be
to
there.
patch the thing together, and Dave will be there.
I'll be there. I'll go over before the game. First game's at what? 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. First game. I'll stop by. Absolutely. Meet with the folks. Texter, gentlemen, I was listening to another podcast. He had a logical, therefore it won't be used, idea for scheduling when the conference goes to 16 teams. Do 4 geographic pods. You would probably play each team in your pod every year in football, twice in basketball. You would play each team in the other 3 pods every other year in football, 1 game per year in basketball. It keeps the number of conference games where they are now. Signed by Frank in Clarksburg. So, so I was talking with someone yesterday when this thing goes to 16 teams. They thought maybe you play in basketball. Mm-hmm. You play every team once, and then you play 3 teams twice, and that's your 18 games.
Is that what?
That's what. So you would.
So you have 3 teams you always play twice?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, correct.
Okay. So who would that be for West Virginia?
Cincinnati, Central Florida. Oh, keep calling them Central Florida. Someone from Central Florida is going to hear this, and they're going to lose their. They don't call them UCF.
Oh yeah, you're supposed to say UCF.
I know,
yeah.
and I don't mean that.
You mean all due respect.
With all due respect, I don't mean to be a ding dong and do it to be funny. They used to be, and it's just like we don't play them all. I'll get it to UCF.
Who would be your third?
Oh, heck, I don't know. It could be Iowa State. It could be Houston.
What about, can't you have, you have a rivalry with Kansas, right?
So everyone's got a rivalry with Kansas. Everyone wants Kansas.
Okay.
Everyone wants Kansas to. Would you like Kansas to come to your gym every year? Yeah, you say, yeah, we'll take that. We'll sign up for that one. Let's do that.
I will. I've said this before, and I guess it couldn't have stayed like this. I've always contended the Big 12 had it right, unfortunately. Playing everybody
awesome
in both sport, playing basketball twice. That I liked that.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to bum me out now to not play Kansas in basketball for 2 seasons or to go, you don't get Iowa State football for 3, all that weirdness that happened. That will bum me out.
And playing everybody, whether it's in football or basketball twice, creates this real strong sense of equity. Yeah. Whereas, like, when you get into the other situation, you're going like, well, they didn't have to play. They didn't have to go to Kansas.
Yeah, no question.
They didn't have to go there. So so-and-so did. So that creates all that.
It's going to happen.
Agree.
It's going to happen.
I don't like that.
Yeah, you don't.
That's why we're going to the Pac-12. Pay every football team twice.
3 times.
And a doubleheader on the same
4
day.
teams. You can play them 3 times. Call it a year. Pay 12 games. You're out.
Be like baseball. Go to Oregon State. Just stay there for a couple weeks. Play them 3 times.
So, Hoppy, I'm going to hit the music, and this will be the end of our show.
Sabbatical.
A lot is going to happen by the time you sit back in this chair for another 3 guys.
Well,
the next time you sit in that chair,
that Beanie Bishop will have won the Defensive Player of the Year.
Jaheim White will be well on his way to capturing his Heisman.
And the Big 12 will have 28 teams in it by the time you come back.
13 players will have rushed for a touchdown, according to Caridi.
Here, let's do it. Let's do a mini one of those. By the next time Kercheval sits down, how many different players will have scored rushing touchdowns for West Virginia? You want to put a number on it?
I'll put a number on it.
Go. The number's 2.5.
I was going to say over under 2.5.
Maybe 1.5.
Oh,
I was going to say the number's 2, so I'd take under 2.5.
Yeah, I mean it'll be over
2. And you're going under?
I'm over your 1.5, under his 2.5. I think it's 2.
2? Okay.
Hell, by the next time you sit down, food court will be ready to go. That'll be good. 3 guys before the game brought to us by the Burdett Camping Center, the only warranty forever dealer in the state of West Virginia. Visit them at burdettcamping.com. Buy it from them. The warranty lasts forever. Right now, 2022 fifth wheels, $3,000 under the invoice. 3 guys brought to us by award-winning Comax Business Systems, keeping West Virginia's business data safe, secure, and efficient for 25 years. And congratulations to them on being named a top 25 Konica Minolta business dealer. 3 guys also brought to us by Lou Wendell Marine Sales in St. Albans. They sell family fun. Visit LouWendellMarineSales.com. By the next time Hoppy sits down with us, 2 people will already have walked the man trip. Go for Gomart to sign up for the man trip. Gomart.com. Get your rewards card.
No, I'll be here for the Dukes.
You won't be here for the show that precedes the preview show before the Duquesne game. You'll be here after the Duquesne game.
No,
you're coming back on Friday, right? We'll tape on Thursday.
We'll talk later.
Excuse me? Kercheval going to come in riding in on an elephant. Special thanks to our producer. This is Jumpin' Jack's last show with Hoppy, but he'll be back for next week.
By the way, real quick, episode800.com, we already got the fall line of stuff out there.
Excuse me?
Yeah, there's some vests, corner zones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, nice.
Go to episode800.com, buy the stuff. Jumpin' Jack Carlson, and newcomer to the program, I haven't given him a nickname yet. He's been here such a short time, I haven't given him Leapin' Luke Rousey. Leapin' Luke Rousey. He's in. We're out. Thanks for being with us. 3 guys before the game. Be good. Do well. Be nice. See you.